Yo, what the business is? It's your boy 2 a.m. coming from everywhere, but nowhere, somewhere up in the sky. Y'all, I'm kind of lost, but guess what, man? I found y'all. We here. Man, it's some new developing stuff is going on with this Houston. Excuse me. I can't even talk. This Houston serial killer. Yeah, allegedly. Hopefully, this is not real. I don't know, man. It's getting a little scary. It's been the first body found in 2026. Yeah, in a bayou. Let's watch it.
Another body, the first of 2026, has been recovered from a Houston waterway, once again sparking the conversation on why so many people are being found dead in the bayous. And yes, could there be a serial killer despite the adamant denials and warnings from authorities? We're going to talk about what we know of this new death and more, and this time we're bringing on a criminologist. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. You know, if you think the crime stories that I cover on Sidebar every day are scary, wait until you hear what's happening with your personal data online. Yeah, your name, your phone number, your address, it's all out there. It's easy for anybody to find. The good news, our sponsor, Incogni, they help you disappear online. And you
join the gym, do dry January, save money. Enough of these resolutions that don't make it to February.
You hear rumors of a bayou killer that authorities that are being found in the bayous, which has ignited a conversation about a potential serial killer in the area. And what just happened? What just happened? The first body of 2026 has been pulled out of a Houston river. I hope it's the only one. But after over 30 bodies were found in the bayous last year, and you hear rumors of a bayou killer that authorities have been trying every which way to deny, we have this new body this year. What do we make of this? Now, according to The Independent, a man's body was located in the Buffalo Bayou at around 2 p.m. on Tuesday, January 6th. By the way, Buffalo Bayou, bodies have been found there last year. September 18th, a body was discovered in Buffalo Bayou. It was 63-year-old Arnulfo Alvarado. His cause of death was determined to be from methamphetamine toxicity and drowning. The manner of death was ruled accidental. But then you go to September 20th, and the body of 67-year-old Michael Rice was pulled from Buffalo Bayou. September 26th, Michaela Miller was found in Buffalo Bayou. And by the way, bodies were found in other bayous as well, like Greens and Brays, but just kind of give you a little context here. But going back to 2026, what do we know about this latest body, this latest death? And to be clear, this is reportedly the fourth body recovered from a Houston waterway within 15 days. Now you have Lieutenant Larry Croson with the Houston.
Wait. The fourth body in 15 days? Come on, stop. Man, man, this is. Let's keep going, because I don't want to get riled up.
Houston Police Department, who revealed that a maintenance crew in the area was the one that found the body of this adult male, fully clothed, possibly wearing a gray jacket. KHOU 11 reporting authorities say there's no obvious signs of foul play, that the body didn't appear to be in the water for that long of a time. Lieutenant Croson adding, as always with these cases, we have our homicide investigators here, and they'll be conducting a follow-up investigation.
And with technology and with the things that you can do with with the police and the forensics and all of that stuff, man, they know it from the T. Like, they gonna know when it happened, the time, how long they was in the water, how much water they congested, all of that shit. Like, they gonna know all of that. So it's like they just said he wasn't in the water for that long. So, man, come on, let me.
Medical examiner will come here and they'll do an autopsy to determine the man's cause of death. To be clear, the identity and cause and manner of death have not been revealed at the time of this broadcast. But I mentioned that authorities are trying to shut down this idea of a serial killer, right? So, for example, and we talked about this in our previous sidebar, you have Harris County District Attorney Sean Tier, who did an interview with NBC affiliate KPRC, said there is nothing, and I want to be crystal clear, to indicate that there is someone operating here as a serial killer. Last year, okay, after 5 bodies were recovered in just 5 days and a 6th just days later, you had this terrifying rapid cluster. You have different victims, different waterways. Obviously, it is leading to questions, a lot of online speculation.
And people got to realize, man, this is somebody's kid, somebody's brother, somebody's sister, somebody's auntie, somebody. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, like, what the hell? Like,
that something was going on. So you had Houston Mayor John Whitmire, you had Houston Police Chief Noah Diaz. They held a press conference to try to downplay people's fears.
Let me say that again. There is no evidence that there's a serial killer loose on the streets of Houston. If there was, you would hear it from me first.
And Police Chief Diaz said, for us as an agency, rumors stir fear and anxiety in our communities. But maybe all of that hasn't worked. Because according to ABC 13, late last month, after 3 bodies were found in bayous in a week's time, people seem to be skeptical. A man named Juan Sandoval, who was visiting Houston, told the outlet, the math isn't mathing. I think there's a serial killer. I get Nevada's For You page now, and even in Nevada, they're talking about Buffalo Bayou. So it's that bad. It's reaching another state, across state lines. Houston resident Eric Cortez said, there must be someone out there, no? Because it's ridiculous that so many people are dying in the bayou. I think it's unfortunate that they haven't found the person. According to KHOU 11, resident Juan Martinez said, come on, there must be a serial killer. Over 30-something bodies? No way. And this doesn't even take into account the amount of posts and comments on social media regarding the potential of a serial killer, too. Now, officially, even though you're seeing this many bodies, to give you an idea, reportedly 35 bodies found in 2024, 34 last year, the explanation has consistently pointed to broader, heartbreaking social issues. Houston's significant homeless population, mental health problems, substance abuse issues, the simple, dangerous geography of the bayous themselves. They are dangerous. And according to Cron, former Houston City Council member at large, Letitia Plummer, has addressed bayou safety, saying, everyone in my mind should have a part in this. All of us need to come together at a table and figure out what can be done. She added, in a lot of areas where there's a lot of jogging and walking, there should be emergency phones that someone could call immediately. Lighting should be a big conversation. And as we extend toward the East End, those were recommendations my office made last year. The Bayou Partnership has been open to those conversations. Now, she indicated this requires coordination between parties like the city, the Harris County Flood Control District, the Houston Parks Board, Buffalo Bayou Partnership.
Hey man, what's the best advice you can give someone that's in sales?
Switch to Monday CRM.
Oh, awesome.
And before I even go further into this, before I bring an expert, a criminologist to talk about all this, here's another fact I got to mention. According to data that was obtained by KPRC2 from the Harris County Medical Examiner's Office, nearly 40% of the roughly 200 bodies that were recovered from Houston area bayous since 2017 have an officially undetermined cause of death. So that means, seemingly, that after investigations and autopsies, forensic experts, authorities can't conclusively say whether this was an accident, whether this was a homicide, whether this was a case of self-harm. And to be clear, according to KHOU 11, with respect to the 34 bodies found last year in Houston in the bayous, only 1 was ruled a homicide, 9 were accidental, so drowning, toxic exposures, 19 remain undetermined deaths, 2 self-harm, and 3 still pending. So I want to bring on criminologist Dr. Debbie Good.
somebody walking around like, I can do what the fuck I want to do. That's not funny.
She is the director and associate professor of the Criminal Justice Degree Program at St. Thomas University in Miami, Florida. She is a nationally recognized and accomplished author of academic crime books that are used worldwide. And she is our guest right now. So happy to have you, doctor. Thanks for taking the time. Okay, so I want to start with this new one. What do you make of the finding of this new body in 2026?
Right. Well, as always, Jesse, thank you so much for having me on. This case really, I think we would have to use terms like crazy, wild, shocking. But here again lies the hesitation with the word or term serial killer. Because, Jesse, when we look back at the data analytics, when we last spoke, 2024, 30 something deaths, 2025, another 30 plus. And here we are with a death in 2026. But the question is, of all of these circumstances, which
Wait. What was them? Let me see. Hold on a second.
really, I think we would have to use terms like crazy, wild, shocking. But here again lies the hesitation with the word or term serial killer. Because, Jesse, when we look back at the data analytics, when we last spoke, 2024, 30 something deaths, 2025, another 30 plus. And here we are with a death in 2026.
So that's 60. Yeah. But you don't think like this is like a TV show. Like you don't think you can't fathom or think that somebody's possibly doing this? Like really. It makes me a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie.
But the question is, of all of these circumstances, which ones potentially of the nearly 70 are actually murder? So at the moment, we know of one, right? We know of Mr. John Morgan, 44 years old. The medical examiner did the report, and the findings indicated blunt force trauma and internal bleeding. But when we look at the other circumstances, Jesse, so many of whom have been in the category of undetermined. They can't decide. So, as terrible as all this is, and I think those are some of those talking points, right? It's terrible.
And that's probably like the worst way to get found. Like, how did you die? I don't know. Like nobody knows what happened, what like nothing. Like, come on, like that's the worst type of shit, the way to die. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody knows what happened to you. Nobody knows what the fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the worst way to die. It's like dying and then nobody knowing until like a year later. You know what I'm saying?
Terrible and it's tragic. But when we really narrow in on this and the levels of specificity, is it criminal? Because that would mean we have unlawful deaths. Now, I would still maintain that some of these other factors are at play here: sociological issues, psychological issues. It is quite likely that among the nearly 70 victims, many of whom may have been in vulnerable positions. What does that mean? Perhaps the homeless citizens, the individuals who may have mental health difficulties, and those potentially with drug and alcohol issues. And so some of these deaths may be accidental, some may be as a result of self induced harm, and others, of course, as we know, have been declared as undetermined. But can we really say
there's a demand for skilled tax preparers? I invite you to certify your skills as a professional tax preparer with Universal.
they're criminal?
And I'm sure there are probably like maybe 10 or 15 of those bodies that are like some addicts that OD'd and they got scared because a person they didn't know what to do. So they was like, hey, go throw them in the bayou. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Like a few times. They was getting high, didn't know what to do. They got too high. They had an overdose. They hit the ground. Their head start bleeding. Hope I'm not using words YouTube don't like. um, but yeah, I'm pretty sure a situation like that probably could have happened. Who knows?
Criminal, an unlawful death, questionable.
100% right. I want to get to that a little bit more. Just focusing, since all eyes now are on this new death, right? And I say new, look, the body was found in 2026. We don't know. Although this is interesting. So there's a couple of things we do seem to know about this body, right? They said, authorities, that it's possible the body was not in the water long. The body was fully clothed, found by a maintenance crew, by the way. Let's start right there. What does that tell you about the circumstances of this death, or at least how the body was found in that water? I don't know if deposited by someone else or was a result of something else, but somehow was found in that area. It tells us something, right?
Sure. Well, again, if we really look at the geography, Jesse, that equates to 2,500 miles of waterways. So, what do we know about water and body submersion? Well, again, it's difficult to really ascertain at what point or part of the geography did the body enter the water. Again, was it a slip and fall? Was somebody swimming and drowned? Were they intoxicated or with some type of narcotic in the system and didn't know what they were doing? But I do think what this speaks to in this totality of the Bayou area is really all eyes are on this case. So for the maintenance workers to have found the body, they did the right thing. They reported it. That's very important. Fully clothed, potentially more or less a body intact, would suggest the submersion in the water would not have been as lengthy.
You would think that if they've been having all of these things, these that the police would have put one of those, those police things they put on the back of people's houses so they can watch them, like put one up on the bayou, like super high up, so it can watch a big area. And I'm pretty sure you'll find out what the fuck is going on. Boom.
Is potentially the other 60 plus victims here. So we are still awaiting autopsy on the cause of death. Now, if and when, Jesse, we would have something along the lines that a medical examiner would point to blunt force trauma, strangulation, gunshot, a knife wound, then I would definitely be moving in a different direction and think, wow, we do have murders and we do have these unlawful deaths. But at the moment, with the exception of the one individual, Mr. Morgan, so much of this is undetermined.
When they say that this new body in 2026 showed no signs of foul play, is that because, how do they know that? Is that because on the on the surface, there are no clear signs of, like, let's say you said, blunt force trauma, gunshot wound, but you're saying that could potentially change, right?
Correct. That could potentially change, but you're 100% correct because we all know about the true crime community. So this is not fiction. This is fact. We are talking about fact-based circumstances of deaths. Yes, it's terrible. Yes, it's tragic, but the key finding here is the word criminal. Do we have a crime? I know that in our earlier conversations, some want to hit the panic button and say it's a serial murder, 3, 4 more deaths at different locations. But when we have the serial killings, Jesse, we just look back at history, names that your viewers know: Dahmer, Bundy, Dennis Rader, Gacy, Ridgway. You see, law enforcement was quick to tell us that we have to be on high alert now because there is a serial killer. We have not been told that. So I still maintain we must trust the experts. They know what they're doing.
Right.
Findings, as you suggest at the moment, are not pointing to bruising, blunt force trauma, internal bleeding, gunshot, stabbing, strangulation. If those are the findings, I promise you I will say something differently.
Sure. And how long till a cause and manner of death is determined by the medical examiner? And I guess the second part to that is, given what you're saying, how long till those results are released to the public? And do they have to be careful about how they release it to the public, given all of the attention and speculation that is happening right now with respect to this new body I'm talking?
Oh, yes, indeed. That's an excellent consideration. Why? because law enforcement, it's really not their job, right, Jesse, to tip the hat to the public and give, A to Z all of the details. Why? Because if we do potentially have a serial killer, they cannot afford to compromise the investigation. But to the other question about how long, it's generally a lengthy process. The ME's office, these are the credentialed medical doctors who have the scientific background to make these determinations. But generally speaking, we could still be waiting a couple of weeks on this one. I would imagine the fast track nature, because all of this, the
Right.
Bayou deaths have been in the spotlight now. We're going on year 2.
You're not shadow banned. You're just posting without a plan and wondering why nothing sticks.
How can we be sure when authorities have determined that there was only one homicide? I mean, is there any reason to question those results? Any reason to say, and look, some are still pending, some are undetermined, but is there any reason to question that there was only one official determination of homicide?
In my opinion, Jesse, working through the years also with local, state, and federal authorities, I truly regard them as the experts. I think they're very careful, considerate, methodical, the I's dotted, the T's crossed. And so I believe them. I believe if of the near 70 potential victims, they are telling us that one is with certainty a murder, then I believe them. But again, if we may give potential consideration to just other sociological, psychological factors that I do think are relevant to this, the homeless citizens, those with mental health compromise and drug and/or alcohol related issues, that too becomes a deadly cocktail, especially surrounded by this 2,500 miles of waterway.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, you don't seem to believe that there is evidence right now of one single person perpetrating all of these killings across Houston. And this is interesting because according to Cron, Andy Cahan, who's the director of victim services and advocacy for Crime Stoppers Houston, said, quote, "The booming true crime genre has played a tremendous role, particularly on social media. Rumors get driven by clicks, not evidence. A serial killer in a bayou gets more traction than saying none of these cases are related." And he added, and I thought this was really interesting, and I wanted your perspective, that basically in today's day and age, with technology, it is incredibly difficult for a serial killer to go on a crime spree the way that someone could have done this years ago. Surveillance footage, cell phone data. You agree with that?
Oh, 100%. I agree. I echo that sentiment. Why? Because when we go back the decades of the 80s, the 90s, and the Dahmers and the Bundys and Gacy and BTK and all of these names, we did not have, the cell phone in hand. We did not have the street cameras recording every move, the computers with the searches. So today and I can assure you of this because I check the crime data as a criminologist every single day to see where are we seeing the upticks, where are we seeing the declines. And serial murder, really, as we spoke last, in our modern day times, it's almost, a non-issue, right? Are there exceptions? Of course there are. But the greater concern, unfortunately, would be the mass murderers, those who are participating in 3 or more killings at one time, one location. It's different than the serial killer, 3 or more deaths over time, different locations.
Yeah, and to add to that, I mean, our understanding is from one of these cases, drowning seems to be the most common cause. The records also show, like you said.
What if that's what they want you to think? Like that simple. Just drown a motherfucker.
There is self-harm, there is a homicide, you might have substance abuse, overdoses, deaths that are linked to heart issues, maybe accidents where the bodies end up in the water. The thing about it is, according to reports from Houston Public Media, which reviewed data from the Harris County Institute of Forensic Sciences, more than 200 bodies have been pulled from local bayous since 2017, and it was the last 2 years that account for the highest number on record. So 2024, 35 bodies were recovered. Last week's discoveries, you had 2025 has reached 34, so it nearly matched the record with the year before. And to put that in perspective, so in 2017, there were 20 deaths. The number fluctuated in the intervening years, began a significant climb around 2020. You're seeing a trend.
There was this guy going around, he was offing homeless people. They made a documentary about him. We're going to see in 2026. Hopefully, they don't find no more. But it's just like, what if it goes up to 40 or 50 or 60 this year? What if it double? What they gonna do then? They gonna say we got one? Like what has to happen in order for somebody to try to figure out what the fuck is going on? Let's do something. Let's put some surveillance up over here. Let's try to stop these people. Let's try to save these people's lives. Let's do that. Because what we're doing is not working. Obviously, numbers are going up and up and up. And what is this? January 13th. I think this happened. This was 2 days ago. So the 12th or 10th already. But hey, that's Houston for you. They just weren't about building and building and building and making more highways and building more highways and trying to get more people because they built more apartments and more houses and more all this shit. It's just like, I don't know. Hey, man, I appreciate y'all vibing with me, watching this, going down this trail with me. You know what I'm saying? Let me know in the comments if y'all think there's somebody out here that's doing this. Because, like, I don't know. It's we're going to have to see. Because people can make things look like an accident. It's happened before. Act like it happened before. Like people don't, like there are people who live off the grid. They're not on social media. They don't get tracked and we getting tracked. Like people, it, it's able to happen. This is able to. This is why I'm like. But let me stop and continue the video.
But it's reaching these kind of levels. So it's not just a spike, Dr. Goodman, in social media attention. It's a spike in the actual data. So people will look at this and say, yeah, I understand you're talking about different socioeconomic.
That among these.
Can you be a travel advisor without quitting your 9 to 5? Actually, yes. We're Fora, the modern travel agency.
These near 70 deaths, many of which are drownings that may purely be accidental.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, something else I should mention, according to Click to Houston, Tim Miller of Texas EquiSearch, I might be mispronouncing it. This is a volunteer search organization. He's come out and said that he thinks it's possible there may be more bodies in vehicles that are underneath the water in the bayous. So it seems like the city of Houston's working on recovering these cars that may be at the bottom of the waterways. And, you know, I don't know how difficult it will be, Dr. Goodman, to not only recover the bodies, but also determine cause, manner of death. But if they start finding more bodies in vehicles that are...
So that's interesting. So It ain't no telling how many bodies is in there. That shit just fucking fucked my head up. Damn. 'Cause I didn't think about like, cause Houston is a cartel city, mafia city. Like it's some dangerous motherfuckers here. Yeah, but
emerged. I mean, I guess one, unless there's some evidence from the car to suggest foul play, it goes back to another idea. You might be dealing with accidents, right? Or floods or something of that nature where someone gets submerged. But if you start recovering more bodies from these cars, what are you going to be on the lookout for?
Right. Well, what I think is always important, we don't want to necessarily look at these things.
The fear, trying to say,
they ain't going nowhere, man. Hey, man, I appreciate y'all vibing with the kid. You know what I'm saying? Gonna get out of here. Until next time, man. Hey, what they say? Peace and love.